Hi, this tutorial is all about the control group. So if the purpose of an experiment is to determine where some treatment has an effect, it is important to include an experimental group that does not receive the treatment. This group is called the control group. So the control group is an experimental group that does not receive the treatment. The control group provides a baseline for the groups that receive the treatment. If a control group is not used, extraneous factors that may be introduced that may confound the treatment. Okay, remember extraneous factors are bad, so anytime we can eliminate those extraneous factors, in this case by using a control group, that's considered good. Alright, so let's take a look at an experiment that was done and try to indicate, first of all, where the control group was used and why it was needed. So the Department of Agriculture at a university was interested in determining whether a preservative was effective in reducing discoloration of frozen strawberries. A sample of 50 ripe strawberries was prepared for freezing. Then the sample was randomly divided into two groups of 25 strawberries each. Each strawberry was placed into a small plastic bag. The 25 bags in the control group were sealed. The preservative was added to the 25 bags containing the strawberries in the treatment group, and those bags were sealed. All the bags were stored at 0 degrees Celsius for a period of 6 months. At the end of this time, after the strawberries were thawed, a technician rated the strawberries' discoloration from 1 to 10, with a low score indicating little discoloration. So if we first of all think about, well, what was the treatment group and what was the experimental group? Or excuse me, if we look at what was the control group and what was the experimental group, that'll help us determine why they were used. So let's start with the control group. So the control group were just the 25 bags of strawberries that were sealed. No preservative were added to the control group. So if we consider this to be the control group got no preservative. Okay, then the preservative was added to the 25 bags containing strawberries in the treatment group, and those bags were sealed. So if we call this the experimental group or the treatment group, these were the strawberries that got the preservative. Okay, so our two separate groups then were put in the freezer for the same amount of time, and then were rated by the same technician. So the question now is why was that control group needed in the experiment? And really, a control group is always there to gauge the effects of extraneous factors. Okay, so in this case, maybe the bag was bad. So maybe the bag let in a lot of extra air and really discolored the strawberries. If you did not have a control group there, you would be led to believe that, well, the preservative didn't work. Okay, the bag went bad, discolored the strawberries, but we might think, well, it must have been due to the preservative, not to the bag. But if we have that control group and it turns out that both bags of strawberries ended up very discolored, well, then we're not able to conclude that the preservative worked or didn't work. Really, that's just inconclusive then. Another extraneous factor is maybe just the type of strawberry they used maybe was over susceptible to discoloration when in a freezer. So again, if we didn't have a control group and the bag came out really discolored, we wouldn't know that it was just due to that type of strawberry. We would think that it was due to the preservative not working. And maybe another extraneous factor, maybe there's just an issue with the freezer. Maybe the temperature fluctuates inside the freezer and that causes the strawberries to become more discolored. But again, if we didn't have that control group, we would have no way of knowing that the discoloration was due to the freezer instead of the preservative. So a control group is very, very important to gauge the effect of a certain treatment in those experimental groups. So that is your tutorial on control groups. Thanks for watching.